Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing Bachelorette, finally. So, we're going to be doing this, going to reiterate, mention this in the last toe episode, that we're going to be doing each episode individually. So I'll be getting the first and second episode to you pretty much back to back. And then the next Bachelorette episode will come in rotation at some point. So that's what we're going to be doing. But we don't have any hot goss to discuss in this episode. It's been pretty slow the last few days, but we're just going to jump right into the episode. So, The Bachelorette Season 21, Episode 1. There are no titles for these episodes, so I might have to make them up as I go. Let's get on with it. So, we start the episode off with some drama. We're kind of doing what we've been kind of starting to do since Golden Bachelor, kind of going to the very end to, then we come to the present. So, we get to see her family now that we haven't met before, because, Joey let her go before that could happen. And she says she just wants to find a good guy to take care of her. Her brother James is here as well, and he seems to, really be involved. But she is kind of just filming in the park at one point, and I guess we kind of run into these fans just randomly, ? The other, the thing is yes, it's something that can happen, especially, when we're talking about the first Asian Bachelorette, or really and truly the first Asian lead in the show. That's a big deal within the Asian community. I'm not even faulting any of that. I think that's great if it's done authentically. This felt staged. Did anyone else feel like this was a little staged? It was, I didn't like it for that perspective of it felt very staged. And I feel like you don't need to do that. The show doesn't need to do that. It just, I don't know, I didn't like it just because of it just wasn't authentic. But anyway, we're at what I am going to be penning the fake Bachelor Mansion. Although this mansion was really, really nice, it's just not our Bachelor Mansion. So I'm going to have to just say it's a stand-in at this point. I didn't like it. I loved it, but I didn't like it. Does that make sense? I'm sure it makes sense. Anyway, but of course, here is our Jessie here again to go through this another season of this show. We wouldn't want it any other way. But we are at the Hummingbird Nest Ranch. That is the name of this incredible mansion. But let the games begin. We're ready to meet these men. So we're gonna basically go, for the most part, one by one with how the show does. If the guys are being grouped together, we're gonna group them together, whatever. We're gonna kind of go through that. So in case you missed it, we are going to go through it now. And if you don't watch the show, but you kind of want to know what these guys look like, you can definitely go to the social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I would have posted photos of these men, so you can hop on over there, take a look at these men as I'm going along. If you don't watch the show, but you're just gonna want to have an idea of what these guys look like, they're there. So let's go through it. So we got Marcus. He is 31 years old, and he had 3 big dreams for himself. He wanted to join the army. He also wanted to go to space, and he wanted to find his person. So basically, he has definitely achieved one of those things. 3 guesses. Which one do you think it is? But yeah, he did join the army. Right out of high school, he was 18. He did 6 deployments, but he almost didn't get out of one of those deployments. I'm gonna kind of paraphrase here because I don't want to misrepresent exactly what he said, but some of it I've kind of missed. He basically mentions that like a bomb basically dropped or some sort of explosion happened, and he said it all went black. He remembers waking up in a hospital in Washington, D.C. He basically had to relearn how to walk again. Like, it was quite a thing that he went through. But he's doing great now, so it's really great to see. Thank you for your service. Guys, I really like him. He's probably one of my favorites right now, based on just all of these men, really. Like, really and truly, I'm kind of as we go through, kind of go through what I think about some of them, whether negative or positive. And I want to go through that, just my initial feelings about each guy. But he really truly is one of my favorites so far. I've really liked him. And he was the first guy out of the limo. It was great. We meet Marvin. He's 28. He speaks French. So there was a guy that I did remember mentioning. He's definitely from an African country, or was he Haitian? Either he was Haitian or he was from Cameroon, but I do remember us mentioning someone who was a French speaker. But yes, that is him. Then we meet Sam N, who is 25, who is hot, y'all. He is hot. I remember actually thinking, oh, you're hot. He's a virgin. A love virgin, that is. He had to clarify that. He's a love virgin. He's the Iranian guy. So he has never been in love. He has the cutest dog. Yeah, that's what I wrote. He's the cutest dog. I think we have like the video from him, but he didn't have any girlfriends in school because, and I guess maybe I'm gonna probably just assume here, in his culture, you don't date just to date. You date with the intention of getting married. So basically, that's kind of why I guess he hasn't really dated. But he also calls, and I miss some of this. I can't remember exactly if I wrote eyelashes, but I feel like that's incorrect. Or if maybe I mentioned he has really nice eyelashes, because he really does. But he kind of says, call me a gentleman. Gentleman, you get it? You don't get it. We get it. It's really lame though, but we do get it. Anyways, so apparently gentleman is a thing, because when we get the next batch of guys coming in the next limo, they're yelling, gentlemen, gentlemen. And I'm like, whose dumb idea was it to say gentleman when gentleman is spelled Gent, and her Jen, Jen. It's so stupid. Anyways. Next, we meet Grant. He is 30. He is hot as well, and he is trouble. You just look at a guy and you're just like, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Yeah, that's him. And shame on me, because I would definitely get involved with a guy like that. Pretty sure I have. And it doesn't end well. I'm sure they get to a point where it ends great. And maybe he's at that point now, but he's broken some hearts up until this point. Anyways, so yes, he is, I guess, doing some beatboxing thing, and singing, which he shouldn't. It really wasn't. The beatboxing was okay, but when he started singing, I'm like, no. But it's okay. It's a really good thing that you're really hot. But anyways, we see him kind of playing basketball in his video thing. And he used to play in school. He kind of started when he was 8 years old. So basketball is definitely his thing. And he actually was playing pro basketball internationally until he had a sports injury, and that kind of ended his career. There's going to be a theme with some of these guys where we're kind of hearing about different sports that they would play and then they had to stop because of injuries. It's going to be a theme for sure. So yeah, then we meet Sam M, who is 27, who is also really hot. Like, her men are hot. It's very rare for me with these shows where I'm like, almost every guy is just hot. That doesn't happen. Not like this. This doesn't happen. She has a really good looking batch of men, and really and truly, so far with their personalities, again, I'm only about halfway through second episode, so I still have a ways to go, but for the most part, they're a really good batch of men. She's really, really lucky. But anyways, back to Sam M. So yeah, he's hot. And he kind of says to her, so picture your life like 50 years from now. Why 50? Why couldn't it be 20, 25, 30, 50? Anyways, he's like, me cooking breakfast. We got 2 shots going in my hand. And do you know what time it is? It's shot o'clock. Now, it took me a minute because I was kind of like, what is this deal with shot o'clock? I forget that she kind of did that shot o'clock thing, I think. So I'm just like, okay, I get it now. Anyway. So yeah, he works in construction. He has been single for only about a year. That is not very long when we're talking about a person who is actually engaged. So he was engaged. He proposed to his ex, and then that ended in her cheating on him. Again, I reiterate, a year is not very long. We're talking about an engagement ending in cheating and not on his part. So I don't know. I mean, again, I really like him. I mean, he has an arrogance to him. Like, I'm trying to determine if it's really, really confident or really, really arrogant. But I kind of like him. He's not like the worst guy there in terms of personality. So I do like him, but I just don't know how ready he is to actually be someone's fiance again after only a year. I do wonder, is this his gateway into BIP? I don't know. I'm just speculating. I do wonder that even about Grant as well, but I mean, at first, this is how you just know you don't never judge a book by its cover. Because with Grant, I'm like thinking, oof, I don't know, man. But he does seem to really like her. So, you never know. But yeah. Anyway. So yes, that's Sam M. Let's move on to Thomas N., who is 31. He gives her a bracelet, kind of in place of giving her a ring, but this bracelet does have his last name on it, which I believe was Wen, if I'm correct. And he says, so hopefully at the end of, yes, that is correct, I'm right. So yeah, he says, so hopefully at the end of this, we can have like a win-win situation. I see what you did there, I like that. Anyway. He loves to swim. Swimming is a big thing for him. He was actually really good. He actually tried to get into the Olympics. That's incredible. However, since the theme of tonight's episode, he too had a sports injury, so that ended that possibility of him becoming an Olympic swimmer. Anyway, so then we meet Brendan, who's 31. He brought a hot pepper, 2 of them actually, to eat in front of her. I don't know why one would do this. And he is like, actually, sorry, she says, oh, okay, so we're gonna torture ourselves. Cool. I'm with her, because why would you do this? He's like, he's like, well, I'm just kind of letting you know that I can handle the heat. Sir, I really don't think you can, because you're sweating profusely. Your tongue is probably on fire. You look like you want to die. So I don't know if you can really truly handle the heat, but kudos for trying. Yeah. And he kind of goes back into the house and he's like, can I get some milk? Water? Yeah, you think? I'd go for the milk. Because you literally ate pepper seeds and all, 2 of them on your own. I don't understand. And then again, why get 2 of them and then not offer to give her 1? Kind of, I think that probably would have been a bad idea to give her a pepper, but I'm just saying, it's just, why would you bring 2 of them? You would just bring 1 at that point. So weird. Anyways, moving on to the next. We're gonna kind of go through a batch of different guys at this point. So we see Dakota, 27. We see Kevin, 35, walking in skis. We see Spencer, 30, with pocket squares. I guess for her to pick a pocket square for him. I don't know. We got a bunch of other guys that kind of come in with this, kind of doing the shot o'clock again. And I believe one guy, I don't remember who, I guess it would have been the guy who did the shot o'clock to begin with, which I think was Austin. Not Austin, sorry. God, Austin, Sam. And he's like, I guarantee that I'm the only guy that's going to think to do the shot o'clock thing. No, sir, you're not. There's literally other people here who are doing the shot o'clock as well. Anyway, we also have Austin, who comes in with a fire extinguisher. Can't remember what he did with the fire extinguisher, so don't expect me to remember. But anyways, then there's another guy. I didn't catch who this guy was, but there was another guy who wrote a song about, I wonder if you're naked under your scrubs or something. It was kind of inappropriate, kind of weird, inappropriate. Did I mention inappropriate? Like, you don't know her to be kind of, making comments like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, then we got Thomas. Now I know his name is Thomas, but we're going to call him Thomas because he dropped the H. Okay, so he came, my Canadian fella, came in the only way that Canadians can come in, with puppies, because puppies are the best thing in the entire world. So he came in with 2 beautiful pups, and I swear to God, the squeal that escaped my lips when I saw the puppies. I'm like, puppies! I love puppies. Who doesn't love puppies? Anyways, he has puppies. And he's 27 years old, again from Toronto. Yeah. And only see it like every week. Jesse comes and he's like, so I'll take these off your hands. Not a problem. I'll take them. Puppies. Yeah. But, yeah, I think that I read the season. Oh, the best season ever is what Jesse says after he took the puppies. Totally agree. Then we got a guy coming in a stretcher with his face all bandaged, and he's in a hospital gown. He's lovesick, y'all. That's why he's in a hospital gown. He's Jonathan. He's 27. He's like, I can be really cheeky. And then as he's turning around and going to the mansion, y'all, his ass is hanging all the way the fuck out of this hospital gown. And I'm going to agree with her and say, oh, you're not wearing anything underneath the hospital gown. He's like, nah, no, I'm not wearing anything underneath the hospital. Why? I mean, again, as a person who has literally had to go through different hospital procedures and everything, there's not every instance where you have to take your whole ass underwear off while wearing a hospital gown. You could have worn underwear at the very least, because now your ass is going to be touching furniture that doesn't belong to you. Like, take that shit in. That's fucking gross. But we'll get to it. Not to worry. So we meet Aaron, who's 29. He is the one who has a twin brother, and that is Noah, who we've come to know and love? Question mark? He was a little annoying on the Bachelorette season, but nonetheless, he was a guy with the mustache, and then he shaved the mustache for BIP and all that. I totally forgot that he's actually with Abigail, and they're still together, so that's really great. They're planning on getting married. That's congrats to them. And yeah, we do find out that Aaron, back to Aaron, has actually been married and divorced before, so, he's not necessarily scared of the idea of committing himself to somebody. So that's great. So we see this guy driving in a sports car. He throws his keys to Jesse and says, keep that safe, will ya? Or whatever the fuck he said. I was like, Jesse is not here to be your chauffeur, sir. Okay? You want someone to hold on to your keys, you hold on to your keys to make sure that they're safe. More on that later. So, yeah. And he goes to Jen at this point and he says, I know guys who have cars like this might be overcompensating. Yes, they usually are overcompensating, sir. But let's continue. He says, in fact, he has a really big, like a really big dick, y'all. He has a really big dick. He really truly says he has a really big dick. I have a couple things to say. Number one, yes, usually a person with a car like this is overcompensating for his small penis and his inability to use it. Number two, chances are, if you're out here saying you have a really big dick, you don't. I'm just gonna throw it out there. You probably do not have a big dick. You know what? Not always does that matter. But at least if you're gonna have a small to average size dick, then you at least need to know how to use it. Sir, this man does not know how to use it. I'm just telling you right now. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Anyways, that's my idea. Yeah, she's like, whoa, okay. But this douche is Jeremy. He's 29. Then we meet Dylan. He's 24. He took the MCAT recently, so he's going to be one step closer to becoming a doctor. Congrats to him. He says that he wanted to be a doctor because his grandma was diagnosed with breast cancer, and he kind of just wanted to, help people. He would talk to doctors and, pick the brains. So I think that's really awesome. Then we meet John, who's 25, and he will always put her on a pedestal. We meet Brett, 28, which I do want to point this out. I think this is really important to point out. And I mean, it would be interesting if we'll ever see a woman who mirrors him in Bachelor, but this is the first time we kind of see, I don't want to use the term plus size because I don't care for that, but this is a man who has a regular, just average body type that is just, I think it's amazing. I really do. I think it's fucking amazing. Thank you, Bachelorette, for finally showing us someone who looks like the average man. I mean, I'm sorry. I love my boyfriend to death and I love everything about him, physically speaking. He doesn't look like, I don't know, who can I mention? We don't look like Sarper. All men I had to pick Sarper. He doesn't look like Sarper by any means of stretch of imagination. He looks more like a Brett. I mean, he's tall and he goes to the gym, he does work out, whatever. But he doesn't, when I first met him, he was chunky in the middle and I still love that about him. So, you like, typically, like, this is the kind of body type you're going to see. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's sad that we don't see him past the first night. Spoiler alert. But it was really nice to see nonetheless. So, yeah, I hope we see a little more of that and actually see someone who looks like him go further past the first night. It'll be nice to see. Anyway, we meet Mosey, who's 25, who's a cutie. We meet Jahan, whatever, who plays chess, I guess. Anyways, we meet Devin, who's 28. He says he's a loud guy. He was raised by a single mom, and he's giving Jenn apparently like a Pete Davidson vibe, which I didn't quite understand that until the second episode, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe. He kind of does look like a Pete Davidson. Who knows? But anyways, then we got a guy with a bunch of balloons on his back. Man, looking like the old guy in Up. That is literally what's happening here. This is Hakeem. He's 29, and the balloons basically dignify how he felt when he found out that she was the next Bachelorette. Basically, it was kind of supposed to be like he was on cloud nine type situation, which there's so many ways you could have told her this than strapping a million balloons to float a house into the sky on your back. anyways, basically though, when he's like getting into the house, the balloons are basically like popping when he tries to get in. They're popping on the ceiling. They're popping on the light fixtures. He goes outside to like at the back of the mansion, and like they're popping on the tree outside. It's just bad idea. But anyways, whatever. But that's it. That is all of the men. So we're gonna take a break here. And when we come back, we will be jumping into the second half of the episode where we're going to see her talking to the guys. Hi, everyone. I have a new song for you by an artist named Tayna. Hopefully I said the name right. That's spelled Teyna. And the song is called This Is Music. I had to get this single from the PodSafe music directory on the World Podcast Network. So I'm going to be playing that song for you very shortly. If you like the song that you hear, you can go down to the show notes where you will see links to the song, and that is also including the link to the PodSafe music directory. Without further ado, I'm going to play that song for you now. And I am back. So, yes, now we're going to be starting off the section with her talking to the guys, getting to know them. So the first guy she talks to is Thomas N. And we kind of just, I guess, connect on the fact that they're both Vietnamese. He kind of talks about like his family and, them coming to America and, just kind of talking about the Vietnamese culture and what it's like to grow up in a Vietnamese culture. And they are really connecting on that. I do. I like him. I definitely like him. I really did kind of go through. Well, I kind of was talking about kind of how I felt about each guy, but yeah, I do like him. She wants to teach her kids Vietnamese, which will be really interesting, with someone who is not a Vietnamese descent, because how do your kids understand you? Otherwise, if you're not a Vietnamese, I can imagine Vietnamese is probably not an easy language to learn. So, but you never know. If you're dedicated enough and she wants to teach her kids Vietnamese because she speaks, we actually didn't hear her speaking Vietnamese, but her mom speaks Vietnamese and she definitely understood what was being said to her. Anyway, so we're kind of with our hospital patient, and y'all, not only is his ass all the way the fuck out, but so is his dick. It's just exposed. Everyone's getting frontal view, ass view, the whole thing. No one wants to sit where he's sitting because, potential butt sweat, ew, is on the couch, which, ew. We're going to play a game though, nonetheless. We're going to play a game, kind of get to know everybody, get Jenn to know everybody, let men kind of, get comfortable with her. Like, it's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to basically play truth or dare. And Austin gets Dare to streak around the house, which he does do. He apologizes to his mom for doing so, and grandma, I believe. And when he kind of gets to the front door, Jesse's standing there and high fives him. Why? Man, I love this. One guy does the splits, which I think was actually Brett. He did the splits. And Mosey literally admits in this moment, because the question was, have you ever ghosted anybody? And he just nonchalantly doesn't even think about it, doesn't think, maybe I shouldn't say this. Just out here just says, oh yeah, definitely. Sir. This is when you fucking lie, because how is anyone else gonna know the truth? Unless someone comes out of the woodwork and says, no. He's a liar. He did ghost me. Ooh, you know what I mean? You're trying to make the best impression here, and the best impression isn't admitting that you've ghosted women in front of the woman you're trying to impress. Bad idea. Bad fucking idea. Anyway, then Sam N, who is our love version, everybody, talks to Jenn next. He says that he's never been in relationships before, as I've mentioned previously. He said he kind of just wanted to work on himself, which maybe that's partially true, but I do think culturally it's probably the biggest reason. But his brother actually did marry his first and only girlfriend. They met at 21. They're 29 now, so I don't know if they've been married the entire 8 years or what, but they've been together for 8 years. But she says that she's not nervous about the fact that he hasn't been in a relationship before or hasn't been in love before. She says it's actually very similar to her culture, so she's not at all concerned about any of that. So that's good to hear. The guys are curious about the masked up guy, aka our hospital patient, aka Jonathan, but he finally go to talk to her because he says, I'm not going to unwrap my bandages until, she can do it. And he just wants to ensure that she'll love him for him, that she's not going to like him for the exterior. She wants, which I think is great. He does it because, looks do fade, which, yes, they do. But now she gets to unravel the bandages like a Christmas present, trying to figure out what this man looks like. And once she's able to get all of the bandages off and we see his gorgeous face, he looks cute, y'all. He's very cute. But he says he's also really happy to get the gauze off of his face. I'm sure he is. I can't imagine how uncomfortable this whole thing has been. But he gets back to the guys and they're all like, damn, he's fucking cute. Shit. They really wanted him to be ugly. Like, really. But here comes Jesse with that first impression. We're just gonna place it right here on the table. Right here on the table. Okay? We're gonna give it a minute, though. We're gonna let that just kind of sit in the air for a minute because she's not done talking to these guys, getting to know them. We see all the different guys still talking to her. Jeremy takes her out to the car. This is our guy with a really, really big, maybe probably small penis. And Brian, which I don't believe ever really zeroed in on Brian up until this point. Brian, when he saw him pull up in this world's car, kind of made a comment that I'm gonna steal that car and I'm gonna have time with her in that car. He literally was zeroed in on this car. So Jeremy takes her out to the car. They're sitting in the car. She's sitting in the driver's seat. Unfortunately, don't have the keys because, he lost the keys, I guess. So they can't actually, turn the car on, drive the car, whatever. I mean, first of all, the first place I would have gone to is Jesse and say, Jesse, where'd you put the keys? But anyways. But then all of a sudden, as they're in the car having a moment, you're just gonna hear beep, beep. Lights are flashing and shit. They notice it, but then they kind of like, okay, well, they just resume what they were doing, and he got beep beep again, and Brian walks with the car, and Jeremy's like, oh, you have my keys. And he's like, yeah, I do have your keys. You know what, my guy, I don't think you have enough horsepower for her. I really don't. I think you need to get out of the car. Let me sit in the car. Yeah, I think you need to go. And he's like, we just got here. Can you give us a minute? He's like, no, see, I don't think you understand. I think you don't get it. You don't have enough fucking horsepower for her, my guy. I do, because I don't want the fucking keys. So get the fuck out the car. This is his first impression thing. You can't take his first impression thing and then make it for you. That's like, I'm gonna go back to Joey's season for a minute. I don't remember anybody's name, but Boat Girl, because that's the name I gave her originally when I didn't remember her name. When she came in, and she came in on a boat, that's like, she's coming out on the boat, and then Maria decides I'm gonna go over to the boat and take my time on someone else's thing. That's fucking disrespectful. No one fucking does that. But anyways, he's like, well, I'll give you time though. Give me my keys back though. He's like, nah, I'm gonna need the keys. I'm gonna need the keys. And I think like Jenna's trying to diffuse the situation because she's like, it's okay, like nothing's gonna happen to the car, it's fine. And he's like, no, I really want, I like my keys back. Can I have my keys back? He's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. And he kind of just looks at him, and I think he's just assessing the situation. Maybe this gives you more of an average size penis because and will give you the balls have dropped because he's literally like, okay, fine. All right. You get the car, you get the keys, whatever. When he gets out and he literally says to Jen to let him drive. And he goes over to Ricky, which I haven't really mentioned Ricky before, prior to this, but he goes to Ricky. And Ricky, he tells Ricky, like, he just came and, like, took my time, like, got pissed, blah, blah. And he's like, I think at first Ricky's just kind of like, well, that's the name of the game. That's what's going to happen. People are going to steal time from you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, but he had my keys to my car. And he's like, what? Exactly. And then all of a sudden you kind of just hear, like, because again, he has the keys to the car is now turned on. We hear revving of the car. We hear them kind of going like, whoa, whoa. Kind of like what's his face in Grown Ups when he's all bandaged up, like, whoa. No. But he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, really? Yeah. And Jeremy's kind of like, she's not gonna pick him. Hopefully she can see like this pissing contest type situation with the fucking car and she'll just choose not to pick Brian. Because I mean, who would want to be with someone who sounds like him anyways? Have you heard his voice? He just sounds like a guy who's either from like Boston or I don't know exactly where he's from. I can't remember. I don't have the information in front of me, would have where they were from, but he's probably from like Jersey, maybe Boston. I can't quite pinpoint the accent, but it's giving me Jersey vibes, but that could also be Chicago. So like you never know. I'm Canadian, but I feel like it definitely had like either a New York or Jersey kind of thing going on. So I'm just like, so what's with I don't get it. I mean, he's annoying because later on after this situation, we kind of come from commercial, go back, and he's rapping about stealing the car from Jeremy in front of Jeremy, and Jeremy's supposed to just sit there and just take it. I can tell you right now, I don't like Jeremy because, I don't like a guy who boasts about having a big dick and then really and truly just has an average too small penis. Can you tell I've been scarred in my past? Anyways, I don't particularly like Jeremy, but I feel for him because that kind of sucks. I really don't like Brian. I really, really don't. But anyways, that's that. Then we see Devin is kind of talking to her about kind of his experience with his mom being a single mom and everything. And he also kind of mentions like one of his turn-ons is a girl who gets her nails done, which I don't know if I really truly like to hear that superficial kind of nonsense because again, she may not always have her nails done. She's, you know, her education, like I don't know exactly what it means to be like a medical student, medical. I can't remember what exactly the term that she is. Depending on the kind of work she does, she's not always gonna have her nails done, my guy. You know? And that's exactly why she says to him, she's like, what if I don't always have my nails done? He's like, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna take you to the nail salon and you're gonna get your nails done. And I'm gonna get a pedicure too, so it's gonna be fine. Basically, y'all, he has a nail fetish. He has a nail fetish because he literally kind of says to kind of under his breath, like, do you put them in my mouth? Or you know what I mean? Like I I I don't care. Have your fetishes. I don't give a shit. But it's just, it might rub me the wrong way. And he'll continue to rub me the wrong way, don't you? At this point, though, no one has had a kiss yet. Grant pulls her aside to talk, and they're playing some basketball, and he says, listen, if I win, I get a kiss. Don't know how I feel about that, but anyways, which again, this kind of feels also just a little bit unfair because my guy plays basketball. If you remember, he was a pro basketball player internationally. That's unfair. But they both kind of sit down and they're talking, and she actually wants to kiss him. And at one point, she does what we all do when we want a guy to kiss us and he's not kissing us. We bite our lip. So that's kind of what he ends up doing. Or so she ends up doing. And you're thinking, oh, is this it? Is it about to happen? No, because then here comes Thomas and he kind of shows them and says, can I steal her for a minute? Didn't you already talk to her? I swear to God, you already talked to her. But it's okay. Whatever. That's fine. Then we see Marcus and Jenn talking about kind of like his role in the army, kind of things that he kind of did as well. And, he mentions he would be jumping out of airplanes and all of that, rock climbing, and she is actually terrified of heights. So she's kind of really struggled through that, but hold on to this again for those who don't watch the show at all. Hold on to this because definitely my girl took this information and stored it away for a rainy day. But yes, then we see Aaron. He mentions to us, which I'm not sure if we ever knew this from Noah, but y'all, he's one of 10 fucking siblings. Actually, scratch that, 11, because he doesn't understand how this works. You don't say you're one of, or no, sorry. I think he said he grew up with 10 siblings. Sorry, I got that wrong. Sorry. Yeah, he grew up with 10 siblings. Obviously, him also being a twin. I think he's at the smack dab in the middle. bless his parents' heart. I don't know how the fuck. But anyways, this is kind of where he mentions to Jenn that, oh yeah, by the way, so I actually have a twin brother. His name is Noah. He actually used to be on The Bachelorette, then he went on BAP, and he's actually engaged to Abigail. And Jenn's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, mm-hmm. So she knows who he is, but they don't look anything alike. They are fraternal. He does confirm that, because I'm thinking I would never know. So I didn't even remember he had a twin. I don't even know if that's something that was mentioned, but yeah. So that's basically that. He does say, you are getting the better end of the deal though, because I'm the more mature one. Great. But here comes Jenn to get that first impression rose. Yeah, we forgot about it. No, no, no. She looks around the room where the rose was, where most of the men are. And she's like, nope. And she's going to the other room where they're like, shit. And in the other room is really only 4 other guys. It's like, I can't remember all the guys that were there, but I think like Jeremy was, oh no, Brian was there. Not Jeremy. Brian would have been there. I think Grant was there. Sam M was there. And I can't remember who the 4th guy was. Okay. I think it was Hakeem. I don't know why that brings to me. But anyways, she ends up giving the first impression rose to Sam M. And yeah. And they end up making out for a really long time, and it was really intense. And she kind of was happy that she waited for this moment to kiss him, because this is kind of what she wanted it to be. So yeah, this kind of seems to have worked out for that, for the, for her getting her first kiss with somebody. And yeah, but that is it. We're headed to the rose ceremony now. So basically, with the addition of Sam M, we're going to have 16 guys in total. No, sorry. Scratch that. 15 guys in total. Forgot I counted from 2. So anyways, I'm basically just going to be listing off the guys that are picked. I'm not going to really mention the guys that are not picked, because it's too many. It's 10 of them. We don't really know them at this point, so it doesn't really matter. So we're just going to we're just going to do the 15 that are picked. So she picks Dylan, Thomas N, Spencer, Grant, no surprise, Marcus, Tomas, Jeremy, kind of surprising, Brian, also surprising, Jahan, who we don't really see her really talking much to, but anyways, Hakeem, who is our old man balloon guy, Jonathan, who was our hospital patient, Austin, who was our streaker, Marvin, who was our French speaker, and we ended off with Sam N, who is our love virgin, who really and truly, I think, was wondering, am I getting picked? Am I going home? He was kind of stressing. But anyway, we do find out here that we're going to be doing something a little different this season that we've never done before. And usually, if you've been watching the show for a long period of time, you kind of know in the beginning of the season, it's usually a domestic situation. We're usually still in the States, usually still in California. We don't usually leave California for a time, but eventually we do go internationally. That is not the case for this season. We're going straight into doing international fun. And the first place that we are going to is Melbourne, Australia. This is going to be a lot of fun. So that is basically it for the episode. This was a pretty good episode. I really think for how first episodes usually go, this one was for the books. Jenn's going to do really great. But we're just going to quickly go through some of the dramas and some of the different things I wanted to highlight that we can expect for the season. And that is, we are going to see Charity. I think it's great. We got a guy coming from her past. What the fuck? And she's freaking out. He wants to join the journey because he wants her back. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? And all the men are like, you're supposed to be in her past, so go stay in her past. The past is the past is the past. Rodney, Marry Millions, bring it back. Bring that show back to me. God, that fucker had to ruin everything. Anyway, Aaron says that not everyone is here for the right reason. He does that to Jenn, and he's not telling her who exactly he's talking about, which frustrates Jenn because she's like, you can't tell me something like this and then not tell me who it is you're talking about. I agree. I agree with that. Sam N is saying that he is falling in love with her, but something that Thomas N kind of mentions here is, how do you know that you are, because you've never been in love before? And he is, I mean, I hear him on that because I do agree. How do you know what love is if you've never been in love before? I do think at some point you kind of have to go through, because none of us knew exactly what love was. But then again, I think we can all kind of agree, for like those really new relationships when you're younger in your teenage years, you thought it was love and it was going to be the end all be all. But then you realize as time goes on, like, oh no, that wasn't, that was, no. So that I definitely hear him on that, but at the same time, he is a little condescending and kind of is talking down to him a little bit, kind of saying like, "Oh, you're a kid, this and that, blah blah blah." And I don't think that is necessary to get your point across. But anyway, Jenn also has some drama herself. Something is gonna happen that has never happened before. We're gonna have the most dramatic season ever of The Bachelorette again. But this is kind of the $1 million question, just based on kind of what we see leading up to. We can't go based on the day of, because like her picking up the rose and then putting it back down, like doesn't mean anything. But it is kind of the question of, is she getting engaged or isn't she? But then again, this is something that we question with Joey as well. Is he or isn't he? I think this is kind of where it's been at. So it'll actually be kind of interesting to see, like, if she actually doesn't. We haven't had that in a really long time, of someone coming on the show and actually not getting engaged at the end of this. And at that, we've never had that with The Bachelorette. So we'll see what kind of happens with the season. I'm interested. I'm in. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. But that is it for this episode of The Bachelorette. Again, you're going to be getting the second episode of Bachelorette next. Again, I was doing the back-to-back thing, so you'll be getting that next. But until then, that is it for now. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including, you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you can go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming. We do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.